Hi, my name is Scott Hartman. Um, I found recovery December 19th of 2016. So I just celebrated 8 years. In the past 8 years, if you would have told me in my addiction that my life would be as good as it is, I would have never believed you. Um, I'm in ministry school now. I do a lot of outreach. I'm getting married to an amazing woman. God has put a lot of people in my life. Now, if coming from a guy that was a drug addict for 30 years, was homeless, IV user, destroyed a lot of lives. If you, I couldn't imagine my life being what it is now. Um, I was beat as a kid in Germany where I grew up. It was a nightly thing. My dad would he would come in, beat my mom, my sister, myself, and this went on for a lot of years. Um, so then we move over to Missouri to my grandma's, and I had abandonment issues then, and I thought things were good. But then my grandma, one night I threw up on the dinner table, and I couldn't leave until I ate the throw up in the food that was underneath it. So at that point, I was dealing with the physical abuse and then the mental abuse. That was a dark secret that I never told my mom. Didn't know how to deal with it, but I was a young boy, so I was trying to navigate through that stuff. And then my mom remarried, and I thought things were good. And then my stepdad raped me. So at an early age, I went through the trifecta. I went through the physical abuse, the mental abuse, to the sexual abuse. Well, in the 80s, you don't talk about that as a young boy because nobody's going to believe you. You're going to be made fun of. So on the outside, I wanted everybody to be my friend, but you weren't going to get close to me. On the outside, I was just happy-go-lucky. I was in sports. I played baseball, football. I was in band. I talked to everybody. But on the inside, I was screaming. I was just crying. I didn't know how to handle things. So I started fighting. If you looked at me wrong, I beat you up. I broke your nose. Just boom. Um, and this went on for a few years. And then the alcohol started, and then the marijuana started. And then I was still trying to navigate who I was or where I fit in. And then I was in a bad accident at the age of 17, and the doctor gave me pain pills. And I didn't have to worry about trying to navigate through anything at that point because as soon as the pain pills hit my system, I was good. I knew where I fit in. I didn't have to think anymore. I didn't have to feel. I didn't have to. I just stayed numb. And I got married at a young age. We got divorced, and I knew I was losing everything. So I had a friend move in with me, and um, my place was Animal House, all that sex, drugs, rock and roll. My dad wanted to move back to Missouri, and I told him he could move in, but he couldn't drink. And I was telling an alcoholic that he could not drink in a house where there was keg parties, where there was sex, drugs, rock and roll. And I found out that he was drinking, and I kicked him out. Um, Not long after that, he wanted to make things good at a funeral, and I told him to get away. And I didn't think about it at this time, but now that I'm in recovery, we always think we have more time to get things done. And I told him to get away. I wasn't ready for it, and he went to sleep and never woke up. So the last conversation I had with my dad was out of hate. You would have thought that that would have been my bottom. No, it just sent me on a bigger spiral, just down and down and down, in and out of relationships, couldn't hold a job, mulling over everybody that got in my way. Um, Not my bottom, not even close. Got married again for 8 years, and that wasn't the best. Um, got divorced. Um, then I met this girl. I was staying with her. She had a beautiful house, two kids, everything that I thought I wanted. But at the end of the day, I really didn't. I didn't know what I wanted because I couldn't love anybody because I didn't know how to love myself. So I thought I could go into this relationship and try to show that I loved, but at the end of the day, I was just abusing. I started stealing everything from her, um, stuff she could never replace, cash, and she kicked me out. And I ended up moving in with my mom. And I did the same thing to my mom at the time that she was putting her third husband, who was an amazing man, in a nursing home. I didn't know this, but so she was dealing with that, and then she was dealing with her son that was stealing everything from her. And then I took money off her debit card one night, and she caught me. She confronted me. I denied it because that's what I did. I was a guy in my addiction that I would steal from you, and then I would try to help you find it. Um, and you could catch me red-handed, and I would still deny it. That's just where I was at. So she kicked me out, and 3 days later, she went to go see my stepdad, and she had a brainstem stroke and never recovered. It So the last two conversations, because of my addiction, were out of hate with my parents. I could not go see my mom at the hospital unless I was high. Just couldn't do it. Couldn't face her. I was in a bad accident while she was on hospice. She passed away while I was in the hospital. I didn't have any place to go, so my fiance, who kicked me out, let me move back into her house where I could recover. I was in a wheelchair, walker, crutches, the whole 9 yards, and she was trying to make it work, and I was trying to figure out when I can get high again. She kicked me out again, and I ended up in some very dark places. But as long as I didn't have to think, as long as I didn't have to feel, um, I thought I was good. I walked around like a zombie. Um, and, I look back now and it's like, my God, it was God that carried me through 100%. So after many attempts of suicide, because I was a frequent flyer mile at this hospital in Festus, Missouri, I ended up on the streets of St. Louis, and I wasn't showering, I wasn't eating. And then I went on a 15-day binge of being up because I was a speed freak. I thought alien was living behind this ear, and an alien was living behind this ear. And if I had a flat bill hat on, you were out to kill me. I collapsed. I woke up at a hospital, and I haven't looked back. Um, so that's where my addiction took me in the recovery process. Um, Recovery has been a blessing. Um, Even on the days where I have the bad days, it's better than any day when I was getting high. Um, I've been blessed enough to do this with Shane a couple times, and it's just amazing because it's about giving hope. It's about me looking at somebody saying, I'm no different than you, and you're no different than me. We all have a past. Um, we all have issues that we went through, but we can all find recovery, and we can all find the blessings that recovery has to offer. I've been blessed enough to write a book on Amazon, and I'm writing another one. I get to travel and speak. And I'm not saying that to be cocky. I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I'm just saying that's the path that I want to go on. And what I have found in recovery is that we can all do whatever we want to do. We just have to put the work in. Now, mind you, when I got out of treatment and I went into sober living, I was told, get a sponsor, do 90 meetings in 90 days, find a home group, do service work, do the steps. I did 130 meetings in 90 days without a car, without knowing anybody. Because if I walk 10 miles to get some dope, I can walk 3 miles to a meeting. If I could do something in my addiction, I can do it in my recovery. And that's something that I had to learn. Um, and because of me doing the steps that were suggested to me, I haven't looked back. I was in treatment with 27 other guys, and I'm the only one that made it out of that 27 that didn't relapse, that is still going strong, and I'm no different than them. So if you're out there struggling, if you're out there on the fence, um, give it a shot, guys, because recovery is a blessing. I mean, be able to drive up to Cincinnati from St. Charles, Missouri to do this. That's a blessing. To I mean, we're going to Florida next month to speak at a treatment center down there. That's a blessing. I'm going to Arkansas in a couple weeks. I mean, that's a blessing of what recovery and not getting high can do. Um, so just give it a shot, guys. It's 100% worth it. 100% worth it. And today my life is good with this street ministry that I do. God called me to a church, Cultivate Church in St. Charles. We hit the streets to where we go. If you don't watch where you're walking, you're going to step on a syringe. You're going to see people getting high. And because of the outreach we do, and the pastor, he did prison time. He's he's, he's just an amazing guy. But we've been able to pull over a dozen people off the streets and get them into treatment. Um, so that's just a path that I'm on. And if you would have told me that I would be on this path even 8 years ago, I would have laughed. But that's what the blessings of recovery have to offer. And that's the blessings of what God um, has to offer and has given me. So you can do it. You can do it. I mean, I believe in everybody out there trying to fight, because you've got fight in you.